looking at you. The first visitor is a woman wearing a thick jacket. Despite the heat, she can only feel the cold. Next, a short man in a stained shirt, some kind of zealot, ranting about the sun. The more the merrier, you suppose. But there's one more guest. A stranger one than usual, if that's even possible. He has a bald head, black, tired eyes, and a puffy face. He speaks in a mysterious way, but he doesn't want to stay like the rest. He just wants to. It's not so different than what the zealot says. The visitors are our reflections, who we would never want to see or know. But now they're here, and we have to put up with them. You check our hands. According to what the TV said, she's a never want to see or it's not so different than what the zealot says. The visitors are our reflections, who we would never want to see or know. But now they're here, and we have to put up with them. You check our hands. According to what the TV said, she's a visitor, and you need to deal with her. But that can't be right, right? You can't just shoot someone because the TV says so. On the TV is a message. On the TV is a message, right? You can't just shoot someone because the TV says so. On the TV is a message, or perhaps an advertisement for FEMA. You really can trust them. We promise. You shoot her. That night, the windows show the escalation. FEMA surrounds your neighbour's property. Next, the same examining the now scorched corpses of the teens, and finally, neighbour's property. A squad of soldiers talking about a tall, pale man. You've seen him before. And now, he's here for you. How's it going here? Is everything okay? He asks, after a long silence. Listen, are you alone in the house? Just curious. You're reading someone's fortune, promising salvation to some, driving some away. You're lucky tonight. I can hear someone whispering in your rooms. But who knows what will happen tomorrow? He leaves into the night. There's 3 other people who show up to your door tonight. A widow carrying the corpse of her husband, just looking for a place to rest for a short while. A greasy little man not taking anything seriously, except the thought he can make a quick buck. And finally, a doctor. Always good to have a doctor around. FEMA have organised quarantine zones for people showing signs of being a visitor. Visitors, according to them, are merely people suffering from an illness. They've even discovered a new symptom: bloodshot red eyes, supposedly caused by the bright sun. When you leave your room, you smell death. The zealot has been killed overnight. Enough is enough. Time to check everyone again. First, the widow. Her eyes are bloodshot, but she says she's been crying. Her hands are normal, so she's probably fine. Then, the nervous woman. There's no doubt now. She's a visitor. The doctor. He has odd eyes, but a logical explanation for it. You have to be careful what you do. In this heat, your energy drains quickly. Finally, the con man. Even after your checks, you're not entirely sure. You'll have to check them all again tomorrow, and any new arrivals. You can't risk another person ending up dead. The TV says that brush fires are burning out of control all over the country. There's not much to be done about that. You look out at your neighbour's house once the sun goes down. It's on fire. Was it FEMA, the visitors, or a brush fire? Does it matter at this point? The next window. The smiling man is holding the head of a soldier, staring in. The final window. The squad of soldiers, all dead. There's a knock at the door. It's FEMA. About time they arrived. They're here to take one of you for testing, but don't worry, they'll return them shortly. You just wait here until the tests are complete, and they'll evacuate you all soon. They take the widow to test for solar radiation. It's not like you can argue against them, though. They all have better guns than you do. A strange, evil-looking man in a suit is the first to knock on your door afterwards. We're all beasts now, he says. Surely someone so obvious wouldn't be a visitor, right? Then, your neighbour's daughter, wailing at the loss of her father. A man who appears to be a hunter, eager to get revenge on visitors for making a fool of him and stealing his gun. Finally, a large woman who was kicked out of the last place she stayed by FEMA. How many visitors did you just let in, you wonder? A new symptom on the news. If you take a photo of a visitor, they're blurred, like they jumped in the last second, startled by the flash. In other news, compassionate individuals are providing aid where FEMA are failing. In fact, you've heard almost nothing good about FEMA from your guests at all. Are they actually helping anyone? What are they even doing? The end will come when every human being becomes an enemy of each other. We are not far from that. That's why we need to stay in the pack. A pack is a good thing, but keep your eyes open. Any pack will fall apart without a strong leader. Time to take some photos. You got them all, at least, according to what the TV said. You can rest calmly knowing you tried your best. There's one more night. Outside, the neighbours' houses are burned out husk. No more feelings of nostalgia. It's far too gone for that. The soldier's head is reduced to a skull, planted in a stick to serve as a permanent warning. The bodies of the soldiers have been removed, but in their place the body of a man is strung up. A mob thought he was a visitor, and they turned him into a sign. FEMA's at the door again. They want one more person to test. One wasn't enough, you see. Not like you can argue. Then, a familiar face. A smiling man. What do you think of the one in the suit? He asks. He doesn't care about your answer. Say, are you alone in the house? Luckily, you're not. Do you know what you're getting ready for? It's the last days. Didn't they tell you? Dogs rule the world, and only dogs will be here. Have a good stay. And then he's gone, into the night again. One final guest, the fortune teller. But what comes next is a terrible secret. You're back. It's not for long. I just walk around and observe what's happening, how the world is changing, and I don't yet feel that the glaciers are going to melt anytime soon. Looks like we're in for birds raining from the sky. What does that mean? You tell me. Is this supposed to be the end? Or are we yet to smell more gunpowder? I can't see beyond my nose either. Probably nothing to wait for. What can we do? I don't know. I'll just keep watching. That's all I can do. What will you do? You survived the week though. They can't trust you. Too much blood has been spilled. Almost entirely by you. It doesn't matter that it was to keep everyone safe. You're forced to leave your own house. How long could you possibly last in the sun? That leaves us with a lot of questions. Who are the visitors? Who is the smiling man? What is happening with the sun? What are female really doing? All of the information in the game is suspect. It's hard to know exactly how much of what the visitors tell us we can trust, but then again, it's hard to trust what the humans say too, because most of it seems like rumors or ramblings. The news too is hard to trust because they are obviously a mouthpiece for FEMA, whose actions don't exactly match their words. When piecing this information together, well, we just have to do the best we can. Let's examine these questions one at a time. What do we know about the visitors? They're a widespread phenomenon, at least all around the country. They appear almost exactly like normal people, but with satin tails, bloodshot eyes, perfect teeth, dirt under their nails, and appearing blurry in photographs. It's not clear if this is just how sun is burning and scorching the earth. It's so hot that nobody can survive being outside during the day. Even talking during the day drains your energy. You can't look outside the windows for fear of damaging your eyes and skin. Scientifically, all we know is that the sun is sending out solar flares, and that's it. It appears like a real cataclysm, the end of days, but it's just rumours and faith. So, what are the rumours and faith? The sun is exploding. I think it's got something to do with the visitors. It's no coincidence that the sun started burning us when they crawled out of the ground. It's hell on earth. It's balancing the cosmic powers. It's because of us, the sinners. The sun is punishing us for the sins we've committed for thousands of years. It's helping us. Can't you see? It's smoking out the visitors from the ground. It's the end for them, not us. I don't care. It's a pointless question. It's the end of everything. People are to blame. What difference does it make? We can make money off of it. All bad things come to an end anyway. We have no way of knowing what's really going on, and I'd like to think it is at the end. Humanity has faced countless disasters that come back from the brink. Each time people have kept fighting, even when hope seemed lost. The end will come when every human being becomes an enemy of each other. We are not far from that fate. Hardly a consensus. So what do the people think about FEMA? The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, are responsible for the organised government effort to combat the visitors. That's what they say, at least. But it's not so clear in practice. The first time they knock on your door, they take a member of your household to test for radiation. It's odd. Do they really need to test for solar radiation? It might be a white lie to not scare you or tip off any visitors who may be in the house. If so, then why the hazmat suits? The FEMA member claims the suit is to protect them in case they're caught in the sun, but people are baked alive by the sun. A suit like that isn't going to help. Hazmat suits are obviously to protect from an infection or a hazardous material. So, what infectious material do they need protection from? FEMA are disliked by almost every person you can allow into your house. Only a couple of people have a positive view, like the doctor, and even he acknowledges his opinion is in the minority. Why does everybody hate FEMA? For the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good, unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil, unto the resurrection of damnation. All the dead shall rise. Those who have done good and accepted Christ shall be granted eternal life. Those who have done evil and rejected Christ shall be scorched and damned. It seems that the visitors may be dead sinners brought back to life to face judgment. Naturally, the smiling man then would be the devil. Contrary to depictions in movies, the devil cannot do much without your permission. He cannot enter your heart without you letting him. Sinful actions may be easy, fun, or otherwise appealing, but they are still your own choice at the end of the day. The smiling man cannot enter your house unless you let him, or unless your sin is so great that you fill your house with visitors. The devil takes you if you do not act with enough diligence in weeding out sin, if you do not act with enough virtue by saving those who need it. While each person you can let enter into your house does seem to represent a different way people react to disasters, I don't think they match perfectly to sins and virtues. For example, apathy is not a virtuous way to react to this situation, but the widow is a human. In reverse, a hunter tells you to be vigilant and to hunt down visitors, a virtuous action, but he himself is a visitor. The visitors are similar to vampires in appearance and action. The vampires are historically represented as anti-Christian, being terrified of the crucifix. They hate the sun, not because of the scientific property of the light, but because it is an ancient symbol of goodness and divinity. They're antidote, and, like mentioned previously, visitors and vampires share other features like needing permission to enter and being born underground. If FEMA aren't lying about visitors being spread like a disease, it follows along with vampirism too. It can be spread and contracted, and in some games is even treated exactly like a disease, such as in Skyrim. The developers of this game, Triescas, are a Russian team. The common Russian vampire legend is about an entity called the Wurdalak. The Wurdalak, after resurrecting, returns to its home to feed specifically on its family and household. Another name in Russian for the vampire is Upir, which also refers to witches, werewolves, or sinners excommunicated from the church. The word Wurdalak itself may be a corrupted version of the East Slavic word Volkolak, meaning wolf-hide, i.e. someone who wears a wolf-hide, a werewolf. All this to say that the Russian vampire has a strong connection to sinners, feeding on your own house, and someone who is a wolf in sheep's clothing, a term explicitly brought up in game to refer to the visitors. Just another note, but there is a kind of Russian ghoul, a living kind, that carries its dead partner on its back, exactly like the widow. The game is steeped in Russian mythology, and
You